Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to R Squared Technology. I am your host Ryan, and let's get ready to SolidWorks. Happy Hump Day. I hope you all are continuing through the grind of the week, and today I have a newcomer for you from another Instagram page, Malvia CAD. Their Instagram handle will be in the description below. Check them out so you can also find this model if you want to give it a go for yourself. And of course, check out my Instagram as well, where I'll post kind of updates of what's happening on this channel and just SolidWorks in general. So with that, let's get started. Okay everyone, you're going to have to put a seatbelt on for this one, because if and when you find this model, you're going to find that there are some missing dimensions, so we kind of have to take liberties to a certain extent. Now, when you open a new drawing to make this part, you're going to want to go up here to your options, the little gear icon at the very top middle, go into the document properties, go into units, and make sure that millimeter gram second is selected, as these units will be in millimeters. Wait for that, and then of course hit Control S on the keyboard and save that part file first, and then from here on out Control S, save often as you go and do things. So for this, we're going to choose the top plane to start. Again, I still like the front plane in most cases, but being that this has a cylindrical, overarching body to it, that's what we're going to start with. So, sketch, choose a circle. We'll always want the origin to be the center point for this particular situation. There may be reasons why you need to do offset if you're making, say, a camshaft or crankshaft even. Probably make more sense for a crankshaft. But again, you may start different sketches depending. Thing to always keep in mind is why you create the relations you do for each sketch and of course each feature, so that when you make changes in one area, it's going to affect the part in a predictable manner for the most part. So I will select the origin here for the center point of the circle, click and drag out, and then we're going to give this a smart dimension. The radius they give you is 19 mils, so we'll just do 19 times 2. That gives us our diameter. From here we can go to the Features tab, do Extrude Boss Base, and we're going to choose Blind End Condition for this. Again, not my favorite end condition, but it's going to work in our favor for this particular part. And the overall height is 82.6 mils. Select OK. Using the center scroll wheel, we're going to zoom out a bit here. So the next thing I'm going to do is click on this top face of the cylinder, Control 8 to bring it normal to. Click anywhere in the graphics area. Just want to make sure we're on this. Another way is if you hit the space bar and let's say you're still in isometric, and check this out. I know you all witnessed that I made this Boss Extrude 82 mil. For some reason it changed itself. The wondrous glitches of SolidWorks I've noticed that randomly happen sometimes. I don't have an explanation for it. If you do, drop a comment below and let me know what your fix is for it, or if I'm just missing something. So again, we'll click this to 82.6 mils. Select OK. So again, I'm in the isometric, so you can also hit the space bar, choose the top view orientation to get to what we want. So we're going to select this top face. Then we're going to come in here and sketch, and we're going to create a center rectangle. We want the center coincident to the origin, and we'll click and drag out, and we want the corners of this rectangle to be coincident to the edge of the circle here. And then we're simply going to give it one dimension here, which is 25 mils, and this is simply going to be a reference sketch, as you'll see here. Then from here we can exit out, hit the space bar and bring it back into isometric for a moment. You can click on this dialog that may come up that says, hey, you haven't saved this, but it may be counting from just the time I've had SolidWorks open. It's actually kind of interesting because, well, I've saved it earlier, so I thought. But Control S, after every sketch, maneuver, whatever. hit Control S often, saving often. So now what we're going to do here is I'm going to choose the right plane, and then I'm going to go into my Features tab, and I'm going to do Reference Geometry, and I'm going to create an auxiliary plane here. And we want it at 19 mil offset, which is the radius here. We're going to select OK. Now plane 1 over here, my feature tree on the left is still selected, so I'll hit Control 8 to bring it normal to. Oops. Control 8. There we go. Brought it normal to. Then we're going to do a sketch. And the first thing I'm going to do here is a center line. And again, when you see this drawing, you're going to realize that this doesn't have any dimensions as far as how far down these radial cuts are going to be, which is really frustrating to me. We don't even have, I don't have any line references. So if you find this drawing and there's something you think I'm missing that gives that away, by all means, certainly let me know. But for now, we're just kind of do some guesswork here. So I'm going to create a center line that, well, we'll drag it to about there. We'll make sure this endpoint is coincident. It's probably coincident to the midpoint of this here. As a matter of fact, we can check. Coincident 0. Yeah, we're coincident the origin here. So Control 8 to bring this back normal to. Then the next thing I want to do is I'll make just one line, and I want to get coincident to this specific point of that sketch I made. Drag down, we want a vertical relation. I'll right click and select for now. Then I'm going to choose a 3-point arc. And I can grab this endpoint of that line, drag down. Doesn't matter what shape I make it right now. Because then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make the midpoint of my arc and these two endpoints all have a horizontal relation. Then I'm going to take the midpoint of the center point of the arc, and I'm going to make that coincident to the endpoint of this construction line here. And then finally, we are going to give this dimension here, we're going to make this 35. Because again, it's really hard to tell what it is. I don't have a dimension of this line here. I don't have a dimension of this radius down here. So it's just kind of a toss-up in the air of what it really should be. So, but what we do have going on here, so actually we're going to fix something here. Let's reverse this real quick. I'm going to take this relation, I'm going to escape, clear out of the dimensions, get rid of those, because we're going to fix this a little bit. So what I want is actually just these two endpoints to be horizontal like such. Then you'll notice here that this endpoint of this vertical line up here is not coincident to this endpoint of this reference sketch we made up here. So I'm going to press and hold the center mouse button to rotate this into position. Pressing the Control key, I'm going to select the endpoint of this line. I'm going to scroll in to zoom in towards, and I want this endpoint here of the rectangle we created. I'm going to make it coincident. Then I'm going to go Control 8 to bring everything normal to again. I'm going to define this radius as 25 because it's not tangent to this line. So, what do we have going on here? Get rid of that. I'll bring it up. And actually for this one, what I'm going to just do is complete this profile real quick. And we'll just go off of this line here, and this one will be 35. Okay. So let's also take the center point in this midpoint here and give it a vertical relation. Now we're fully defined. Got a radius of 25. That's the only dimension we're given for this whole cut profile you're about to see here. Then from here, we're going to go into our features, do an extruded cut, and our end condition is going to be up to vertex. And then with that, I'm pressing and holding the center scroll wheel to rotate the top into view, and I want this vertex right there. Then we're going to click OK, and it's going to cut in as such. Clicking the graphics view, I'm scrolling out, and I'll go over to the feature tree here on the left, and I'm going to right click on the plane and hide it. Hit the space bar, I'll bring it isometric so you can see what's happening with the first cut here. I'm now going to actually hide this reference profile up here. I will no longer need it for the next couple of cut profiles. You'll find out. But what I'm going to do next here is choose the right plane. And then I'm going to make sure I'm in the Features tab and come over here and choose Mirror. Select it. We got the right plane to mirror about. Features to mirror. And the graphics, we're going to choose the little arrow drop down. We're going to choose the Cut Extrude and mirror that. So we have it on both sides like such. Again, I'll do spacebar, bring it isometric, Control S. And now the next thing we're going to do is actually take on the right plane, Control 8 to bring it normal to. And then we're going to do our next cut profile. And in this one, what it wants, it's a 21mm opening. So what I'm going to choose here is a center line. Choose this midpoint here and drag down and right click and select. I'm going to leave this underdefined for now. I'm going to choose a midpoint line, and I want the midpoint of this line to be coincident to this endpoint of this construction line. I'm going to drag it out past the model, making sure that it has a horizontal relation here. Then finally I'm going to give it the dimension 21 mils. It's going to be my cutout width here. So again, this is where I'm going to take liberties because the only radius I have is, for this one, 10.5, which is half of this. So with this, being that this is a radius of 10.5 and based on this illustration, it looks like it's tangent. So what we'll do here is I'll create one vertical line, select, then I'm going to create my 3-point arc. Again, I'm not concerned because this is what I'm going to do, zooming in with my mouse wheel here. I'm going to make the end point, center point, and the other end point of the arc. We have another line selected here. Let's try that again. Control, end point, center point, end point, horizontal relation. And then what we're going to do is take this other endpoint of the arc and this endpoint of this line up there and make it vertical. Then we're going to finally take the center point of the arc and the endpoint of this line and make them coincident. I'm going to grab a line here to complete the cut profile. And then finally, I'll define this one based on this here, which I'll make this 25. Let's actually drop down to, say, 22. Oh, that's right, we have an internal one, so 20 flat. How about that? Okay. So now that we have our completed profile, because if we don't and we do an extrude cut, it does a thin feature profile, and we don't want that in this situation. So then we're going to come back over here to our Features tab, and we're going to choose Extruded Cut, and our end condition is going to be through all both. Select OK, and then I'll hit the space bar, bring it back isometric, hit Control S. It's starting to take shape here, all pun intended. We're going to choose the right plane again, Control 8 to bring it normal to, start into a sketch, and then from here, So it's 10.5, which is 21. The other one, sorry, is 15.5. So that's 31, should be. I'm going to choose a midpoint line, and I'm going to do some phantom referencing here. Don't worry, I'll fully define this for you. So I'll take this, and I can even grab the center point of this previously made arc here. If it wants to, it does not want to, that's okay. So let's do this first. Let's just add some additional construction geometry. Do a center line between these 2 points here. Then we'll create a midpoint line out of that. Drag out beyond that. Give it the dimension of 15.5 times 2. Then from here, I'm not even going to create a center line this time. You'll see why. I want this line here to be coincident to that horizontal. Then I'll create my 3-point arc. And I want it to be somewhere out there. I'm going to take this, this, and this, make them horizontal. I'm going to take this endpoint, make them vertical. Now we're fully defined. Add in that final line for the cut profile. And then we can go over here into our Features tab, choose Extruded Cut. And now my favorite end condition, we're going to do a midplane of just simply 8 mils. And then select OK. Spacebar, bring it back isometric. And there you have it. Now, these cuts are arguably a little bit higher up. So this could arguably be, say, 15. Oh, man, it might even be like something like 11. So that's a little closer to what you're going to see in there. Again, it's missing technically a Y value for either the center point of each one of those arcs or these lines here. I don't have a dimension, so it was kind of up to guesswork for that. But with that, the part in general is going to look like what you'll see on the page. So with that, we are complete. That is all I have for you in this video. Stay tuned next Wednesday. We'll do yet another random object. Might be from this new Instagram page I've found. I like some of the models they have on their page. So, or it might be from somewhere else. Either way, thank you for watching. Hope you learned something. Take care, and I'll see you next time.